We have Mike Straziuso here today. He is the board president for Third Mutual for 43 more days. And I know that because yesterday at the meeting he had said he had 44 more days. And we're glad to have him on. Nice to see you.
It's good to be here. Good to be anywhere.
Yes. The meeting yesterday ran about 3 hours and 17 minutes. And a lot was talked about.
The meeting ran about 2 hours and 17 minutes, and and the last hour was all about the energy committee.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that's true.
We thought we were on a roll.
You were up until that point. All right. You got a few things you want to talk about. And some of this, a lot of it actually has to do with the Energy Committee. And as we were speaking beforehand, that a lot of good ideas here, a lot of good intentions, but as we see, whether or not it's in the village, but even in general and beyond here, when it comes to changing our energy strategies, whatever they may be, it takes time and it takes money and it takes patience.
It truly does, and the way the board operates, it also takes staff. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the length of the meeting or the length of the discussion on energy had to do with trying an end run around staff. Mm-hmm. And we slowed it down, but it was on the basis of we want to do it right now versus we need some history before we jump into this.
Right.
And that was 2 points of view, and it went back and forth and back and forth. It was civil. It was well presented. It was the points were well made on both sides. Mm-hmm. But I think the prevailing point of view was let's do more homework, let's test, let's see what the results are. You know, when you want to replace 75-watt bulbs with 18-watt LEDs and get even more light, mm-hmm. What impact does that have on your bill?
Right.
And the one side said, let's wait and see what impact it has. They're trying to convert the 81 three-story buildings from, what are they, sodium vapor, our traditional mm-hmm. lights, to LED, the 75 watt to 18 watt, but get more light. Wow, if that has a major impact on our bill, that's terrific. That's the lights. The bill includes a washroom, washing machine, dryer. Mm-hmm. It includes more electricity than just light bulbs, was the argument. And the one who put forth the stop point of view claims that she replaced all of her light bulbs in her condominium with LEDs, and it did not have a major impact mm-hmm. on. Well, what's the financial impact in making this change? It's proposed that we expend $277,000 to do this conversion. Mm-hmm. And they're insisting, the proponents, are insisting that the payback, return on investment, ROI, is a year and a half. And the other side said, we need more evidence before we jump into $277,000 allocation or appropriation. On top of that, our traditional path to get an appropriation of this size is to go to the M&C, to the Finance Committee, and to the board. And I started by saying they wanted to do an end around where they're going directly to the board from this committee, and it has full committee standing, to the board, bypassing Finance and M&C. It took an hour to settle it, and maybe it was the fault of the chair for not gathering it in and getting motions on the floor. It's amazing after all of these years of saying a motion starts with, I move. I want to make a motion. Really? How do we start a motion? I move? I move thus and so. I want to discuss it. Discuss what? Is that a motion?
Right, exactly.
And a little bit of what could be described as herding cats. It's not going to happen on my watch.
Right.
To get people to use Robert's rules,
yes.
my chart.
You got your chart there.
I did screw up on one issue where they wanted to table a motion. And I said, table? Do you want to table it or refer it? Because if you table it, you have to take it off the table by the end of the meeting, or it rolls over to the next meeting. And if it's not taken off the table at the next meeting, it dies. Oh, okay. We'll refer it. And then we started discussing it, and I looked at my chart. A motion to refer is not debatable.
So right then, that should have closed it down.
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, it's Robert's rules, and we adopted Robert's rules in our bylaws. And once in a while, we manage to invoke Robert's rules.
Well, another thing that was kind of part of this, it was the issue with electric cars, although there aren't a lot here. Well, the golf carts, of course, but we're talking about full vehicles that go on the roads and all. Eventually, down the road, those will get more and more popular. So there is that dilemma of the charging stations for electric cars, because to charge them efficiently, you don't want a 110 outlet, you want the 220 or 240. You want specialized charging stations, whatever wattage they may be. And that's something that, has to be looked at down the road, and it is a dilemma for people who have carports and such.
Yes, our common area outlets are 110. I live in a 3-story, 22-unit building, and a couple of years ago, I was investigating tankless water heaters. Okay? Tankless water heaters, what a fantastic, you don't store 40 gallons of
We have
water.
one and we like it, yes.
Great. Then you have 220 in your home.
Yeah, because it's in our garage, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have 220 in our building. So I called Edison and said, what will it take to put 220 panels so that we can have tankless water heater? And the bottom line was, well, $3,000 for a new panel and pulling 220 and Well, pulling 220 for every car, or do you pull a 220 panel and then provide outlets
Right.
with meters to each of the owners of those vehicles? So it is, the way it was described in the meeting was, well, you know, in the LH21s we have parking, covered parking, and you could put 220, you'd have to trench to the parking and put a panel in each of those garages, and it would be a monumental task.
Yes, it would.
And if you don't have a meter, are we going to have these charging stations in our shared cost concept? Or will those who have the charging, that require a charging station, have their own meter and pay their own bill?
Yeah.
There's more to it than meets the eye. If you have your own meter, and the only ones who do are Gate 11, the 317 single family in Gate 11 have their own meters. It'd be a piece of cake. Maybe install a 220 panel and 220,
Yeah.
240, and away we go.
Yeah, it's not as simple as one would think. It's you know, it's something that is on the horizon, but I know exactly what you're talking about because we've talked about it in our home. You know what our problem is? We have the 220 in the garage. The garage is full. It's like our storage, so our cars are parked outside, meaning every night if you wanted to plug it in, you'd have to pull the plug outside and plug it in while it's in the driveway. So there's always a dilemma there. You know, one day we'll all get to that point, but I can definitely see both sides of it, and you take the steps needed.
It'll
and
be
look at it.
solved by a board that I will no longer be.
Yes.
Talk about paying it forward, delay it forward.
Yeah. You know, some good news here. You had year-to-date surplus of $537,000.
It's wonderful. On the surface, there are some projects that have been delayed that has caused this surplus, but we're enjoying it while it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better than not having a surplus, so there you go. Coming up Friday will be the annual televised Meet the Candidates meeting. We're going to be showing that here, and 10 o'clock it is. 4 vacancies. Yours is one of them. You're
Yes.
not coming back. You made that announcement
Yes.
yesterday, or as you said, your wife made that announcement for you. But after all the time on the board, I think you deserve some time off.
Thank you, thank you. The 4 who are not rerunning, Catherine Freshley is termed out. She's 2 3-year back-to-back terms. That's called termed out. And Hank Joya is not going to run again, and Juan Chang. So it'll be 4 openings. We have 8 candidates for those
Which
4.
is nice.
It's terrific.
Yeah, that's real good.
But at 1 o'clock, we're doing our M&C tour, and it's a week early. The standard M&C meeting follows the following Monday, but that's Labor Day.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've moved it back a week.
All right, so the M&C tour will be at 1 o'clock on Friday, and then the M&C regular meeting will be on Monday, August 25th at 9 o'clock. So that's all that's all set. Are you going to be at the Meet the Candidates just to kind of watch?
Yes.
All right, very good. Anything else you'd like to add?
I'd like to add a lot more, but I see the clock on the wall
clock on the
saying
wall. Yes.
that in all fairness, there was a nice group sitting in the green room waiting for me to shut up.
Okay. Well, we'll see you at least one more time.
At least.
Yeah. All right. Good to have you here, Mike. Take
Thank you.
care. We'll be back. You know.